I'm an oil rig man,
And I'm Marcy.
and we are Watchers in the Basement. Welcome back, ladies and gents. We are back for another exciting episode of the Taylor Sheridan universe. So, yesterday we came with Yellowstone. Today we'll come with another Taylor Sheridan creation called Landman. Today we will cover the first three episodes of the series. And man, I must say, reading the message boards and online, this show is a hit so far. And it starts Mr. Billy Bob Thornton, John Hamm, Demi Moore, Ari Larter. I might be saying her name wrong, but she was in Heroes. But it's
Yeah,
all
Larter.
it's okay. It's an all-star cast. It's about pretty much the oil business in Texas and the ins and outs, from the nitty-gritty to all the dirty shit that happens behind the scenes. And man, what do you think about the show so far? And as far as the first two episodes, Marcy?
I'm digging it so far. It's good. Like you said, it seems to be a hit. Lots of really great buzz online. Billy Bob Thornton. I think Taylor probably wrote it with him in mind. I can't think of any other actor that it would do as good of a job as Billy Bob is doing in this role. So yeah, I'm digging it so far.
Yeah, same here. Like Yellowstone, if someone was to explain this show to me, I wouldn't have much interest. I don't care about oil. I live in Texas. I mean, I've never been to the Permian Basin, so like none of that interests me. But I must say, man, when you watch the first opening scene of the series, episode 1, and Billy Bob who plays Tommy, pretty much this fixer for this oil company. When he's tied up and blindfolded with a sack over his face, you're like, oh shit, this is getting to nitty gritty and like the cartel.
Yeah, Narcos or some shit like that.
Yeah. And that's what it gave me. It gave me Narcos vibes of like him being tied up. I'm like, bro, what the fuck's going on? Like, there's no way to kill the lead person.
You're right.
Early into the series, but I think that scene does a great job of like really introducing to you that look, this ain't no Chevron, Exxon like boardroom type shit where deals are being made in a boardroom at a big time company. This is like the nitty gritty. We're creating handshake deals in the background. We are trying to limit damages on all fronts, and time is the guide to do all of that. And when you see that opening scene of like him being tied up and the cartel catches him and whatever, like I'm thinking to myself, dude, is this a wrap? Are they gonna kill him and do like a Quentin Tarantino and do like a how he got here and like everything else from the series on? It's kind of like what led up to that opening scene. But talk about that scene, Marcy. What were your thoughts of that hostage situation?
My first thought was, I hope like this doesn't happen in real life, right? Like to oil people in the Permian Basin, that's really dangerous. More dangerous than the job itself, it seems like. But I mean, did that one kidnapper have to shoot the other kidnapper when he just asked them a question? I was like, wait, what is happening? That's like your own dude. And then just the way that Tommy, the character, was able to finesse his way out of it, even if he was scared shitless, right? Like he was still remaining as cool as he could and was able to just kind of talk his way out of it and really paint the picture of like, hey, what we're offering you is beneficial for you. So either kind of like make this deal with us and like let us have this oil lease, or like, you're missing out on an opportunity, make a lot of money. So great way that he was able, I guess, again, to get out of that situation. And then when he gets back in the truck, you could see like how amped up he was and how scared shitless he was, because he just like downs a beer and then he starts another one. He's like smoking to, just kind of calm his nerves. So it was an intense opening scene.
Absolutely. And like in that scene too, I learned so much about the oil business by him just talking about it. Like I had no idea about like surface contracts and underneath contracts. So pretty much that scene, the cartel like runs that area, like as far as like the land, and like they use that land to transport cocaine and all types of shit, right? Well, apparently on that land, the oil company owns the bottom of it, underneath, underground. Like they own like all the oil pipes and like everything that goes under the ground that they pump through the oil refinery and the oil rig. And he pretty much is telling them, look, man, like y'all might own the surface, but we own the very ground that the surface is on, that you guys own. And now we'll pay you damages for what happens on the surface. But mind you, if you kill me, these motherfuckers that I work for are gonna come and not only kill you, but go to Mexico, shoot your whole fucking family, and blow you off the fucking map. And this is an independent oil company. This is not Chevron Exxon. So if an independent oil company has that kind of muscle, that kind of juice, imagine what an Exxon or a Chevron has, in South America or in Iraq or wherever. I think that scene does a great job of really painting the picture of like how powerful the oil business and how influential it is here in the Lone Star State.
Listen, it definitely painted the picture for me. Like, I definitely am in the wrong line of business. My little bleeding heart is all in like education and like social justice and like nonprofit jobs. Like, I should have just like gone into the oil business because there's a lot of money to be made.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so after they agree that they let him go, he cuts a new deal with them. He does a little like I guess a little like monologue about the oil business. And from the numbers I remember, it's a $6 billion a day business with a B,
Yeah.
multi-trillion-dollar a year business. It's like top six as far as like goods in America, and the other five goods above oil depends on. So just hearing that, I'm like, okay, 15 minutes in, you have my attention. You have
Yeah.
my attention. And I never, I mean, I knew oil was a big business, right? But I didn't know it was to that point where like if a rig goes down, we're talking about millions, we're talking about billions of dollars in a day that you've lost in oil
Mhm.
pumping and oil production, which is crazy. But
Mhm.
I think Billy Bob is the perfect person for this role. It seems like every role he has, he plays some type of like asshole with a smart
Yeah.
mouth. Whether it's Bad Santa, Bad News Bears, he always has that slick oil rig attitude, that smart mouth, sharp tongued, and he fits his role perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. I think the role I hated him the most, though, is in Love Actually when he played the sleazy president of the U.S. But yeah, I think I really like him in this role. Like, I think Tommy is one of those guys that he's an asshole, but he's right about a lot of things, right? And he knows he's right about a lot of things, but he also isn't an asshole about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What's going on, Trisha? She changed her screen name. Okay, okay. Wait a minute, Butterhead. You
We also
evolved.
have M. Moves and King B. Johnson are joining us today. So, hey guys.
Thank y'all so much for joining us today on this chat. But yeah, today will be a freestyle episode, a freestyle breakdown all three episodes. Today we'll just talk about a lot of the characters that are in the show, some of the storylines that have caught our attention. Another person that I want to talk about too is Tommy's son.
Yeah.
So Tommy's son is played by Jacob Lofland. His name is Cooper Norris, and from this onset, I didn't know that was his son. It took me a
Mhm.
while. I think midway through the episode until Tommy and his ex-wife are talking about the little boy, and that's when I kind of put two and two together. But especially Tommy Norris Mr. Norris is a dropout from high school. He's trying to figure out his way. He's trying to figure out what he wants to do in life, and he decides to get into the family business. Now, his dad Tommy, played by Billy Bob, is the ultimate fixer when it comes to making sure shit's under wraps and things are running smoothly. His son joins a oil rig team, and he wants to work on an oil rig in the Permian Basin. And talk about his development in this show so far, and what are your thoughts about Mr. Norris?
Yeah. He looks very young, but then I think like one of the crew members said like that's a waste of a college degree. So I think they alluded that he actually like had gone to college and then he said he wrestled or something at Tech. So
Mm.
I think that's part of why Tommy is not digging this, because he's like, bro, you could have like, you have a degree or you were close to getting a degree. Like you could be doing a lot more with your life. But I think it's either an episode, I think it's in episode 2 where they're having a conversation and Cooper's like, I want what Monty has, right? Like the character played by John Hamm. Like I want to like have my own oil business and like be a tycoon. And Tommy's like, yeah, but it's really hard work and it's really dangerous. And your crew got blown up and you almost got blown up too. And then just Cooper kind of lets us know that Tommy might have also like maybe owned his own business or also been some kind of a big shot in
Yeah.
the oil business, but then like just kind of lost it all, which we kind of find a little bit out more about that in episode 4. But yeah, I think Cooper was excited like to get into the business, to start from the bottom and then just kind of work his way up. But episode 1, they kill his crew, which I was devastated about because I liked his crew. I'm like, hey, okay, like these guys are gonna like teach him the ropes, like they're gonna be his mentors. And then like at the end of episode 1, as soon as he like was hitting that wrench with that hammer and like creating sparks, I'm like, you are at an oil rig, like there's natural gas, like be careful, it could spark. And then obviously it just exploded and massive, and like you could see like the charred bones and remains. So
Well,
it's very descriptive scene.
that part didn't make sense to me because with the sparking, because we saw the sparking, so I know they saw the sparking. Like this is a veteran guy, like the oldest guy on the crew. Like I'm assuming just by looking at him, the way he was moving and the way he was talking in the episode, like Tommy entrusted this guy with this crew to handle his son. So in my mind, I'm thinking this guy has like 30 plus years of experience, at least, or 25 years of experience. So for him to keep hitting that wrench, creating that spark, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, I ain't no rocket scientist, but in the heat with a spark with oil, that normally causes boom, an explosion. And he kept on doing it, and I was kind of like shocked by his, I want to say his negligence of like how that went down, the explosion. Cause like, and not just him, but the other 2 guys, nobody said anything. And they're looking directly at the wrench as he's hitting it. And I was surprised, or maybe it's one of those things where you see a spark all the time, but you don't overreact. But I don't know. But based on episode 2, it looked like there was a leaky fuse in that pipe that caused the explosion. So I guess
they weren't expecting it.
Yeah. So I guess it's not uncommon to see sparks, but I mean,
you weren't expecting the gas to be there.
I saw that, I'm gonna freak out, but you know.
Yeah, it was sad. And like Trisha put, like, I was also very excited for that cast. You have Michael Pena, who's been in tons of movies and TV shows. He is a veteran. And just the rest of that crew, I was very excited. I was like, okay, great. And then I'm like, Taylor, like, why'd you have to kill like these 3 awesome guys, like these 3 cool Mexicans? You have to like blow them up. Taylor, what is your problem?
He loves killing minorities, man. He has a thing for killing minorities, bro.
Taylor, stop it. But yeah, no, I was devastated as well. I was excited about that cast, but now, you know, there are other family members, I guess, are going to play a more prominent role in the rest of the series. From episode 3 and beyond, it seems like.
Absolutely. Let's talk about John Hamm's character. I can't really, and maybe it's just me, but I can't really get a feel for him. He plays Monty Miller, I'm assuming he's the CEO of this independent oil company. My question, Marcy, do you get villainous vibes from him? I can't really. It looks like, for me, from what I've gathered in the first 3 episodes, now that this explosion has happened, there's going to be a lot of like lawsuits coming out. They got to take care of the families. OSHA's involved now. It looks like the rigs, amongst other things, weren't really up to par as far as like it being up to code.
Yeah.
And it looks like to me, and I haven't watched episode 4 yet, but it looks like to me that Monty hired this lawyer as a cause, and her title is really a causation lawyer. So she's trying to find cause and blame somebody. Do you think Monty hired that lawyer to like find somebody to blame, and is Tommy the number one person to blame? You think in Monty's mind?
I don't think so. And then episode 4 will make it a lot more clear for you. So watch episode 4 when you can. But I don't just get villainous vibes from him. Like, I think he's just supposed to be like an oil guy, not like a villain of the show. You can just kind of tell, like, after the accident, when Tommy's like, I think we got to like give payouts to these families, 250,000 for each. Like, he didn't like balk at that. He was like, yeah, do it. Like, he didn't have to think twice about it. He's like, just have the lawyer just kind of like write it up and send it to accounting and like cut them a check. He also like seemed actually like upset by like the blowout and that people had died, and like he knew who the crew was. So I don't think he's going to be like a villain. I think he's just going to be like rich oil guy that maybe sometimes has to make hard decisions or do shady things, but I don't think he's kind of like a psychopathic asshole, that kind of villain type. And then I've also just kind of from snippets of interviews that he's done with Demi Moore, they make it also seem like this couple actually like likes each other. So I also don't think he's going to be like Don Draper, right? Like his role that made him famous. I don't think it's going to be an asshole like Don Draper that cheats on his wives and is just kind of like a horrible boss. So it's an interesting role for John Hamm. Excited to see him again because he does play assholes, right? He played Don Draper. He played a kidnapper in Kimmy Schmidt. So I'm ready to see him just be like a normal person that is flawed, but you don't hate him because he's just a normal person.
Okay, all right. So I was making sure because I wasn't, typically with big time bosses, it's always they always have like antagonist vibes to their character trait. So, but okay, all right. So going back to the issue at hand with the oil rig explosion. So you see the families who are devastated, who have this loss, right? Like the guy, the older guy, and then I think the other two are cousins. I want to say.
Yeah, they're his nephews, and I think those two guys were brothers, and they're his nephews.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now you're dealing with the after effects of the law of the explosion, and in the most recent episode, Cooper Norris gets attacked after he's trying to join a new crew, and the guys that attacked them are family of the victims that died in the oil explosion. And I must say, man, I didn't know Cooper had squabbles like that. He handled those guys pretty easily. So after he apprehends the two guys and unarms one of the guys that had a gun on him, they tell him that that was our family that you killed. Like how pretty much how they did used to hear. Yeah. Well, to go back a little bit, the reason why Cooper is still alive, they told Cooper to go get like a 36-inch wrench off the truck to bring back to the rig. And when he went, it just so happened to be, I guess, perfect timing. The thing explodes, and as Cooper is walking towards him, it explodes, and he gets blown back as he gets knocked out. But I see where this is going, and I don't like it as far as his potential love interest. So the widow of the older guy, she invites Cooper goes there and brings flowers to extend his apologies for what happened. There's a lot of like disdain towards him, but the widow invites him in for dinner, and he's eating dinner, and he sits next to a lady, one of the victims' child's mother, who died in the crash, or died in an explosion. They start going back and forth, and just right off the bat, you see the chemistry. She's breastfeeding the little boy. You see the chemistry between those two, and I must say, Marcy, I don't like it. Not one bit.
I agree.
How do you feel about that?
It's dangerous for you, Cooper. I would think twice about that because later we see that the one of the guys who attacked him, who is a cousin of Elvio, the guy that died, he like puts a knife against him and is like, do not ever like let my cousin's widow like rest her head on your shoulder or whatever. I also see what may be coming up. Yeah, dangerous, Cooper. Don't do it. Don't it feel yeah. Thank you, Trisha. It feels icky. And also like, dude,
Super icky.
your husband just died. Like you probably have a lot of emotions and you got a lot to deal with. But yeah, it's danger, Cooper. Don't do it.
It gives me like John Smith Pocahontas vibes.
Oh man.
It just feels wrong. This white man who comes in who there's no fault of his own, but this family's gone because of what happened. He's just so happens to survive. So I will be angry too. And like now you're giving googly eyes to one of the victims that you previously worked with. I don't know, man. It just gives me weird, icky vibes. That was exactly the exact term I would use, Potterhead, on that. Let's go back to Tommy's family. So there's other members of the family that we gotta talk about. Tommy's the women in Tommy's life, I must say, are very interesting to say the least. So Tommy's ex-wife, Angela, who's played by Ali Larter, and Tommy's daughter, Ainsley Norris, who's played by Michelle Randolph. I must say they are cut from from the same damn cloth, the mother and daughter. And I don't know where this is gonna go, but so in episode 1, the daughter wants to come visit her dad, and the ex-wife tells him like, look, ex-wife is married now, and I guess she's going off for the weekend with her new husband, and she doesn't want her daughter to be home by herself. She's 17 years old, and Tommy agrees. So Tommy lets flies the daughter into the Permian Basin, and as she gets off the plane, it's not just the daughter, but it's also the daughter's boyfriend, who looks like a goddamn Greek god, right? Like this handsome young high school football player, and you just see Tommy's face like, what the fuck I get myself into? I must say I like the daughter. I think she adds a little bit of comedy relief and a lot of naive vibes to the show. And I googled her age. She's 27, so I don't feel bad after her. She's 27.
You're good.
She's 27 years old, but she's 27, so I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I was like, ain't no way that motherfucker's 17. Ain't no fucking way. But she's 27. But talk about the daughter, Ainsley, and the dynamic between Ainsley and Tommy.
Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. Very honest. We can talk about that scene at the football game in a bit, but I kind of like her. But then I'm also Taylor does this when he writes female characters. They're not very believable, and they're either batshit crazy, like Beth Dutton, and Angela is also kind of batshit crazy. Ainsley just kind of walking around the dad's house in her underwear only, not very realistic. When I was 17, I wouldn't have done that in front of my dad or just his roommates. Like, I would not have wanted to be in my underwear in front of my dad. She does it like very casually. She doesn't care about it. So that doesn't seem very realistic to me. And then the way like the show is sexualizing her again, like the actress is 27. She's supposed to be 17. It feels icky to me, but especially because they make it seem like his roommate, and I'm forgetting his name real quick, but it's a lawyer that lives there in the house in Permian with him. They're making it seem like he can't like control himself, or like he can't like control himself to not look. And it's like, are you telling me like this old ass man who is a lawyer can't possibly like help himself around a 17-year-old girl. Like, I'm supposed to believe that, right? Like, he's all like a bumbling idiot in front of her. So I'm just kind of like, okay, Taylor, like, I see what you're doing. Um, Thank you, Trisha. Yes, he does a terrible job of writing good female characters. They're either, like I said, batshit crazy, or they're always suffering, like Monica Dutton. Give that poor woman a break. Like Tiana, or is that her name, from 1923? Um, give these fucking women a break, but also, like, just over sexualized to the point where it's just kind of like comical. Like, I'm not offended by it. I'm just like, okay, like, Taylor, come on, like, get at least a woman in your writing room to kind of help you make it a little bit more believable.
Yeah, like it's funny you say that because like when I watch the daughter, her naiveness is it equates to the daughter in 1883, the one that
Yes.
got sick and died. Like naiveness, wild child, boy crazy, just like I'm like, bro, like could we add a little bit more nuance, more layers to the character outside just sexualizing them? Um, she's a good actress. Like as far as her comedic timing,
Yeah.
she plays that teenage role really really well. And her and Billy Bob have a great chemistry when like you. I feel like Billy Bob is a father. Like when I watch them together, I'm like, oh, he's a cool dad. Like I see it. But yeah, man, Taylor has to do a better job of adding more nuance to his, especially his younger female roles.
Thank
They're
you.
not
Yes.
very layered, and it becomes problematic. Now, I'm hoping because the character is 17, I'm hoping we see some growth with that character over
Mhm.
over the duration of the season, going to season two, hopefully. Um, but the mother's no different. The mother's exact like the same maturity level as the daughter, and the more when I see Tommy's ex-wife, I understand Tommy a lot better now
Yeah.
because Tommy seems to me he comes off as a guy. Yeah, and I'm sure they'll get more into his past life, but oil business, fast money, trophy wife, he gives me that vibe of like that's what was that having a trophy wife with the business that he works in was convenient, right? Like you don't explain much. It's not much expected. Just make sure her house is taken care of. But I think
Mhm.
episode three, they talk about a little bit right before she got drunk, the wife, the
Yeah.
ex-wife. Well, right before they're about to have sex, they talk about him being away. Like, yeah, we can have sex, but the same issue we had when we broke up is still gonna be there. I'm still gonna be
Yeah.
here for 15 days in, 30 days out, whatever. I'm not gonna be around as much. And you can tell that based on Tommy's upbringing or Tommy's formidable years and working in the oil business, that lifestyle fitted him. But the way that he talked to his ex-wife in bed that night, I could tell that he wants more. And
Mm.
and that yeah, the sex will be fine and the flirting back and forth is fine, but I could tell Tommy has matured a lot post divorce, while the wife has not matured at all. Is that pretty much accurate assessment you think, or please add on to
I,
that?
yes, I would think it's an accurate assessment. Again, this is a female character that he's just writing to be, like, I guess, over dramatic. And are there women like that we know, especially here in Texas? Yes. Like, especially like when you get into like some like circles with lots of money, like you still find women that are just kind of crazy like that and are all about the money and like the how much money the husband has and things like that. We do see a little bit more like depth to her in episode 3, but then definitely in episode 4, like Trisha just mentioned. So you'll get some more to her character, but still I don't see a lot of growth. She's just somebody who annoys me right now. And it's just kind of like it's too over the top. And it's the character. Like Ali Larter does a fantastic job and she looks amazing. Like her body is banging and she's 49 years old. Like, so it's not anything about the way she's playing her. I just think it's the character and how the character's written.
Yeah, it's written very poorly. Hopefully we do see growth with that character as well. Though, as far as all the characters in the show, those two are the only characters I really worry about as far as character arc and
Mm,
character value long term with the daughter Ainsley and the ex wife. So going back to the multiple dilemmas of the show. So we talked about the oil rig explosion. Another big time explosion that a big time issue that happened was in episode one. So apparently, one of the company's planes was taken, and Tommy explains like in this business, nothing's really stolen, just borrowed
mm,
and
yeah.
given back days later or weeks later. But we see in one of the scenes that a plane is landing, and then while the plane is landing, a big tanker truck going like 70 miles an hour just collides with this plane that's on the highway. Like it's not on like on a runway or anything. It lands in the middle of like a highway, and it collides and explodes. And we see a bunch of white packages, which is assumed to be cocaine. So it looked like from the onset, it looks like that plane was used as cargo to smuggle cocaine. um,
Mhm.
and the truck and the plane both explode. A pilot, I think a pilot gets out of there and he is burned to a crisp.
Yeah.
And when we fast forward to the next scene when the sheriff is there trying to investigate everything, Tommy gets a call to come to the the highway where the plane and the truck are there, and there's multiple dead bodies, multiple burnt cargo, assumed to be cocaine, and but apparently the plane was stolen like 3 weeks prior, and Tommy Tommy reported it. He reported it, but somewhere in lost in translation, it never got documented that was reported.
Yes.
So it looks like that. It looks like one of the cartels um, had. I think my theory is that they have a handshake deal with the oil company that's unbeknownst to Tommy, and to where they probably get a cut of the cargo that's being transported, and this particular cargo got intercepted, and people are dead. What are your thoughts?
Interesting. Whenever that first happened, I also thought it was like, oh shit, like Tommy's shady too, or like the company's like shady too, and they like know about this. At this point, I don't know, like if they knew that that's what's going to happen. Like you said, they just make it seem like this is a normal occurrence where like their planes or their tanker trucks go missing, and Monty will talk about it a little bit more in episode 4. Um, but my thing was like the tanker truck like honked, right? So we saw them beforehand, but then it seemed like he didn't even like make any attempt to like slow down or like brake. So I was like, wait, like at least make it an attempt to brake. But like I think everybody died, right? Like nobody walked away from that.
Well, no
That guy
survivors.
that guy that started to walk away, he was like burnt up, and that's who Tommy later found in that on that other side of the field. But yeah, you could definitely that's a hard day for Tommy, right? Like you get kidnapped and then you got to deal with that, and then like there's a fucking explosion because somebody was carrying cocaine on your airplane that he only reported to the FAA, which the cop was like, hey, you needed to report it to like other authorities. And he's like, no, like the FAA is who I need to report it to. Like, I did it. So, yeah, episode 4 will give us a little bit more of a picture of everything that happened.
It just doesn't make sense to me how like if you did, because I don't think Tommy's lying. I think Tommy did report to the FAA,
Mhm.
but what makes me confused is that if he reported to the FAA as a government agency, how the fuck was that not documented? There's like
I
a plane is missing.
I think it was documented, but as you know, government agencies may not talk to each other. So there's not a lot of communication. So, yeah, the FAA may know that the plane is stolen, but like the police in Odessa don't know that the plane has been stolen. So it's
But
just
what's
kind of
documented though, because when Tommy's talking to the sheriff, he's saying hey, I documented this 3 weeks ago, and the sheriff's like, no, we didn't see it. He's like, well, can you backdate it and tell them that I
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
reported missing on March 28th or whatever. So
Yeah.
like if it was told to the FAA, whoever was at the FAA never documented it. So it's like Tommy, it doesn't show any record of Tommy reporting
Where
the
they
event.
didn't share the documentation with the local cops. Like we at this point, we really don't know like who's right. I do think that Tommy like did whatever he said he did, right? Like I do think he
Yeah.
documented it the way he thought it needed to be done. But again, episode 4 is going to tell us a little bit more as to like why they don't report it to everybody. When Tommy's or not Tommy, but Monty's talking to his lawyer about it. So episode 4 is really, really good. It gives us some really great scenes between Tommy and then also with the lawyers. It's really great.
Okay. Okay. I can't wait to see it. And now this has been reported. That will resume episode 4 as far as the cargo incident. Now with the oil rig incident, Monty hires a causation lawyer by the name of Rebecca Falcone, who's played by Kayla Wallace, who I've seen Kayla Wallace in so many different rom-coms. She's like the rom-com
And Hallmark Channel stuff. So it's really fun to see her in this type of role and not like a Hallmark Channel type
right?
of
So to see her in a serious role is kind of cool because I've a lot of date nights in my past where I've seen her in different shows. I'm like, God damn, Kayla Wallace again, but it's kind of cool to see her in a serious role. But yeah, so her character, she gets introduced in episode, I want to say episode 2, and Tommy meets her at a bar, and her job is to pretty much investigate what happened and see what the cause is, and if it is cause, who to blame. But Tommy's under the assumption that she's coming there to protect them, meaning Tommy and the company. So somewhere in translation, Tommy figures out that this is not for my benefit, but more so for the company's benefit, and I could be, my feet could be put to the fire. What are your thoughts about Rebecca Falcone's introduction to the show, and like how do you think that would go down?
I like her. I think she's an interesting character. And I'm interested to see how their relationship develops as the season progresses. Not necessarily thinking that, like, do I think they're going to hook up? I don't think so. Like, maybe they will to make the show interesting or whatever.
I think
but
so.
It's just,
so.
Yeah, you can tell just kind of like the progression, from their first day that they're meeting, and the second day that they meet in episode 3. Crazy, right? With the rattlesnake, and then she's learning to trust him a little bit more, and he's just kind of schooling her a little bit on like the oil business, alternative energy, how that may or may not be cleaner. So he's gaining her trust a little bit, and then in episode 4, right, like in episode 3, he's just kind of like skeptical, and his roommate lawyer guy's like, hey, you need to get on her side because she's going to protect the company and she's going to throw you under the bus if she can. So you need to get on her good side. Sleep with her. I don't care what you do. In episode 4, I think Tommy's really going to see that she is there, obviously, to protect the company, but she's also there to protect him as an employee of the company. So really great scenes with them in episode 4. So I'm really excited to see how it progresses. And you really think they're gonna have them sleep together? He's gonna work his charm on her. Yeah, more snakes from Taylor. Thank you, Trisha.
I think so. Anytime there's a rattlesnake involved in Taylor's world, man, there's bound to be a damage on distress type of vibe, and like that because there are at that point prior to the rattlesnake scene, they're already at odds. Like she doesn't like him initially because she has these preconceived thoughts about guys in the panhandle and how they are and this conservative mindset. Tommy has preconceived notions about power suit, Mercedes driving up, this big time lawyer. So I think the rattlesnake scene, 3 times fast, rattlesnake scene really put both characters in perspective. I think it humanized both characters, and I think for Rebecca's case, I think it showed how well Tommy is well versed about the land that he works on, and I think that gave her better respect about what he does beyond the oil business, but just making sure everything runs smoothly. And I think for Tommy's case, I think that situation kind of softened him up a little bit more towards her after he saved her. And I mean, the age gap is weird, but I do think that we may see some a connection between those two characters moving forward. And I think also with that connection or potential connection, I think that may cause conflict of interest a little bit with Rebecca and her job of trying to do her job at the utmost highest level.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, did Taylor use the same like rattlesnake for this episode and then the Yellowstone episode? And then I'm wondering, are snakes kind of like a symbol of bad luck that will happen? Because Peter recently woke up with a rattlesnake on her chest and rattlesnakes everywhere. Yeah. And then we know what happened to her love, Colby. Like, is Rebecca seeing a rattlesnake like a sign of maybe some bad luck in her future? I don't know. Like, that would be interesting if Taylor did that. But did he use the same like stunt rattlesnake? I don't know. What is it with Taylor and snakes? Like, gosh.
Yeah, just throughout the series. I mean, even in Yellowstone, there was a rattlesnake scene with Tate in season one, in the tunnel, as he's trying to get away, and he kills the snake. So he loves the usage of rattlesnakes is a thing for Taylor. I don't know, it's a fixation for sure. I don't know why, but whether it's Montana or Texas, you see all these rattlesnakes pop out of nowhere. I want to talk about Nathan. Nathan is I guess that's the lawyer.
Thank you, the lawyer friend. That's his name, Nathan. Yes.
Yeah, he lives. The housing situation is very weird to me. So Tommy makes six figures a year. I'm assuming, like, he's not hurting for money. Like, he makes pretty good money. And with Nathan, who lives at the house, and then a third person lives at the house by the name of Dale. Who's played by James Jordan, wonderful actor, been in so many different projects over the years. He works in an oil rig as well. They have like a bachelor pad situation with his big ass house in the Permian Basin. Like, the living situation is kind of confusing to me. I don't know. Is it because Tommy's going through a divorce or went through a divorce and he's kind of like just trying to split the bills? Like, I think
it's a company house. So the company owns it. And then obviously Tommy gets to live there. He's like the foreman. He's like their fixer. Right. And I think Dale stays there whenever he's in town, but he goes between just kind of, I guess, like their different sites. He's the engineer. And then Nate, I think he also lives there, but then travels back and forth probably to Fort Worth and to like the other places where they'll need him. So yeah, it's like a bachelor pad provided by MTEX, which it's a nice and big house, but yeah, I guess three old dudes living together, and then you add the young daughter. Hilarity ensues whenever Dale meets her and gets punched in the face and kicked in the nuts. Is that what happened? Yeah. And she, thought he was a rapist. Luckily he wasn't, but that was a hilarious scene.
It probably would have helped the daughter a lot if Tommy told him, "Hey, I live with two other men in this house," because the way that she reacted doesn't seem like she knew that they lived there as well.
Yeah, or she just thought it's like my dad's house that he lives in. But that was hilarious. Like, there's a rapist in the shower. Like, what? So that was hilarious. Poor Dale. He had to take a little aspirin and hopefully not have a heart attack.
Right. I want to talk about Demi Moore's character. Now, when the series starts, they push her scenes pretty heavy in the trailers, right? And from the onset, I had no idea who she was going to play. So apparently, she plays Monty's wife, and I've literally only seen her in two scenes. The scene at the track meet, and then the pool scene where Monty's taking a call from Tommy. Like, do we get more Demi Moore? Do you think we'll get more of her moving forward?
I hope so. Like you said, they're pushing her a lot in like the trailers and like the promos before the show started and like some interviews with John Hamm. It seemed like they were both going to like feature more in the show. Obviously, we've had more of Monty than we've had of Cammy, but yeah, I want to see more Demi more. Like, I love her as an actress. I think she's great. She's having, I guess, like a renaissance after she kind of been away from a lot of acting roles for a while. So I want to see her more than just do more than just kind of like swimming laps in the pool or being at the track meet. Or I think there's also just one scene where she and Monty were at like a dinner at the Drover Hotel in Fort Worth or whatever. So more Demi, more, please. Like, I definitely want to see like, her giving like oil business rich wife.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope to see more. I mean, I'm assuming you're paying a pretty penny on Feore, so let's get some acting chops. By the way, episode 3, when she comes out of that pool in the bathing suit, I'm like, bro, she's 60 plus. She is.
She looks great.
My goodness, like she looks like she hasn't had a carbon in years. She looks wonderful.
She looks amazing.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts about episode 1 through 3?
No, just episode 4, like we've talked about, gives us a lot more insight into Tommy, into his family, into just kind of like Rebecca and Monty. So I'm excited to talk about episodes 4, 5, and 6 in a couple weeks.
I am too. I'm really excited to see how they handle the OSHA stuff with explosion and what closure comes with the stolen plane that's now being recovered and all the cocaine, because that has to be answered. Like that, we're talking about millions of dollars worth of cocaine in that plane. And I know episode 3 they kind of got away from it. It was more so towards the oil rig accident, but I would like to learn more about that and like how they rectify that.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking the way it looks like, I'm thinking you could get a turf war. Like that was millions of dollars of cocaine that burned up in thin air. Like that's a lot of cocaine. And so
somebody's going to be upset that their product got blown up, burnt up, and then like whatever, if there was any left, obviously got seized by authorities. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, that's it for us, man, for episode 1, 2, and 3 for Landman. Again, thank you so much for following us today. Texas Pothead, M Moves, King B Johnson. Appreciate y'all always showing love and partaking in our nerdism. Again, we have other episodes coming up over the next couple of weeks. We got Yellowstone next week as well. Landman in a couple of weeks. Football podcast on Tuesdays. But look, man, for those who aren't subscribed, who follow, who watch our stuff, please subscribe. The numbers really help. Road to 500 right now. I think last time I checked was around 420. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on all social media platforms. The links to the description is down below. Check out our audio podcast as well on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're also on YouTube. So thank you again so much. For myself, for Marcy, we are watching the basement, Landman 1, 2, and 3. See you in a couple weeks.
Bye.